Transparency Treasures. It's Angel and Jay Dee. March the 3rd at 4 p.m. Pacific, Jay Dee is going to be speaking to us. And before she gives us her summary, I just want to highlight our last transparency session with Michelle Mullins. If you missed it, it was probably the most fun transparency session we've ever had, with some of the most hilarious stories. You wouldn't think that when talking about offense that you would have anything funny to say, but she managed to do just that. So I just want to highlight that. Thank Michelle for coming on. She's a professional speaker at what she does. So if you get a chance to go and check out her website, I've posted it all around. And with that, I want to introduce Jay Dee. Jay Dee has been a part of our group from the beginning. She's been a believer since 1996. She comes from a Catholic background. She's married. She has 2 kids. She has a stepdaughter. She's just had a tremendous walk with the Lord. She's in California and just being a light to the world wherever she goes. She is going to be talking about the fruits of the Spirit. I don't want you to miss this, because this can be one of those areas where we tend to get kind of mystical instead of practical. So Jay Dee, give us just a little summary of where you're going to go with this thing on the fruits of the Spirit.
I got really inspired by Jesus' words in John chapter 15, where he says to remain in him and his word, and to show ourselves to be his disciples. And how do you do that? By bearing much fruit. When you go to Galatians and you start saying, okay, the fruit of the Spirit is patience, and that's not the fruit that you're yielding every day. How am I going to get ahead if I can't even be patient with people, with myself? But that's a journey that we do it every day. We're not going to be perfect, but we strive towards it because we want to be worthy of our calling, especially when there's a lot of other souls that we're supposed to give an example of what Christians are. And Christian is like Christ. We fail so much at that on a practical level, at work, at home, with triggers, with pet peeves. We don't need to beat ourselves up because God doesn't see us the way we see ourselves and our shortcomings. He said he loved us when we were doing our dark deed, and now that we're in the light, how much more does he bless us? And he gave us his Spirit. I like to think of the Spirit as the life coach. Relationship with our Father helps me to understand his heart when in our relationships, when we have our ups and our downs, and then just being a model to them, to not call myself a Christian and then have them say, well, you're a hypocrite. No, I need to be a Christian because it benefits everybody, you and me. Jesus said, this is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit. There's a verse before that says, get rid of this whole list of works of the flesh also. That's what I'm going to be speaking and sharing, and hopefully ladies can relate and be inspired, because we don't need to beat ourselves up when we don't have this super spiritual walk with the Lord. A lot of us get in our minds tangled up with how it's supposed to be. I love this group because we can be transparent and say, no, I'm not there yet, but I am working on it, and hopefully you're inspired, and hopefully I can see from and learn from you also. So
we do have a lot of unrealistic expectations when it comes to how we think we're supposed to be. The Bible tells us to walk in the Spirit, that we are to bear fruit. The problem is we don't necessarily know how. I'm a Christian, I'm saved. Why am I not just naturally? Well, there's this thing called training, discipline. And this is where it goes from mystical to very, very practical. If you want to get good at doing something, you put it into practice. And that's what we have to learn how to do. We've really mysticized what walking in the Spirit is. The highest form of walking in the Spirit is actually walking in love. Spirit is an influence. And what is it the influence of? It's love. And we want to display, you could say, the fruits of the Spirit or the fruits of love. Who doesn't want more of that for themselves? I want to be more patient with myself. I want to be more kind with myself. I want to be more gentle with myself. I need to be influenced by that love of God, that gentleness of God, that kindness, that goodness of that faithfulness of God. Then I'll be able to display that to the world. Then the world will see God's glory. We don't do that well for ourselves. Therefore, we cannot do it well for other people. But the Bible says they'll know you're disciples by your love for one another. How we love each other is the hallmark of the fact that I've gone through the training program. I have disciplined myself in God's way. Because if we're not dealing with the things that are happening around us in a different way, then we have nothing really to show the world about God that's worth coming to him for. So this is all about relationship, and this is all about getting real about where we are with it and being committed to putting it into practice. So I'm super excited. This is just so packed full of so many angles. We won't even get to cover it all, but I'm super excited about it. So I hope we get to see you March 3rd at 4 p.m. Pacific. Love you.